This Jimmy Butler situation keeps getting worse and worse and worse as more details keep coming out about things Jimmy Butler has done, Pat Riley, now teammates of Jimmy Butler, including Kyle Lowry, Kevin Love on Instagram making some really kind of funny posts. This situation is just getting worse and worse, and honestly, we're all getting tired of it. So an article came out from Adam Wells of Bleacher Report on January 17th, which is going to be about 3 days until you see this. So it came out a couple days ago as you're now seeing this, that report, Jimmy Butler stayed at mansion instead of Heat hotel during the 2023 NBA Finals. I mean, okay, this is obviously the finals they played against the Denver Nuggets and lost in, was it 4 or 5, something like that. I think they might have got one game. As Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat navigate what has been an awkward partnership so far this season, details about the extent to which the team broke from the traditional rules for the 6-time All-Star in the past are starting to come out. Per ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, the Heat gave Butler permission to fly privately or stay at different locations away from the team on road trips, including one instance in which he set up camp at a mansion 30 miles from the team hotel during the 2023 NBA Finals against the Denver Nuggets. So, also the reports came out that like he was using private jets, but then I guess it was refuted that it was actually, like I think it was from Jimmy Butler's agent, that, which I don't know if that's a reliable source anymore after the whole things with Shams happened, back in December, so. But that apparently Jimmy Butler's dad was sick, so it was like 4 or 5 different occasions where Jimmy Butler used a private jet to go visit his dad and stuff like that. So maybe it wasn't as big of a deal as a lot of people thought originally, because the Heat are honestly kind of playing dirty as well. I mean, Jimmy Butler is as well, and it's just been really, really exhausting. But the Heat are going to use all their resources they possibly can to make Jimmy Butler look like the bad guy, because they're trying to bring down his trade value, which makes sense in a way. I like, this is one of those weird situations where I think Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler are both having like an ego off, and neither one of them really wants to bow down to the other guy. Jimmy Butler is going to do whatever he can, make as much noise, as much reckless, whatever, to make sure he's not on this team anymore. But Pat Riley is going to kind of sabotage Jimmy Butler in a sense. So it's like, well, I'm not going to trade you because you're not worth anything because of all the things you keep doing. And it's like, I think in Pat Riley's eyes, if he doesn't trade Jimmy Butler, then like he wins this, I guess, which I don't really fully agree with, but it seems to be the case here. This is not common at all. One Western Conference general manager told Shelburne, a superstar might stay at a different hotel, but not a mansion 30 miles away. Yeah, I've never actually personally heard of a superstar or even like any player staying this far away from their team, especially like instead of a hotel, you're in a mansion. It does seem kind of weird. But again, this is before the whole thing came out with like the last year 2024 playoffs about the Boston Celtics, and Pat Riley basically told Jimmy Butler to just shut up because he's not playing. So this is before that. So it makes me think that this issue is a couple years deep, which wouldn't surprise me at all. Shelburne noted another way the Heat gave leeway to Butler included hiring his personal trainer onto their staff, which is described as a common practice for superstar players on other teams, but not Miami. Well, yeah, we've already known Miami's a bit of a different situation than a lot of other NBA teams. Miami likes to run a tight ship. Pat Riley likes to run a tight ship where, he doesn't, for lack of better terms, he doesn't let the players run the organization. Pat Riley's like, no, I run this organization. You're going to do things the way I want to do it. Where a lot of other organizations will kind of let their star players not do anything they want, but kind of get a lot more leeway to do what they want because they're your superstar player, and you want to keep them happy, because if they're unhappy, they're probably going to leave, and then your team's in a weird spot. One Heat source told Shelburne, they let Jimmy Butler do more than we ever let LeBron or Dwayne Wade or Alonzo Mourning do. Which is crazy. It's crazy. But again, I think, obviously we don't know any of these. Well, I don't. At least I don't. I'm sure most of you do not know any of these players personally, Pat Riley personally, but it definitely seems like Jimmy Butler might have the most, ego in a sense of like, Jimmy Butler's hard-headed. Jimmy Butler, I think, is the most hard-headed out of all these players that are listed here, where it's like, if Jimmy Butler doesn't or does want to do something, he's going to do whatever he can to not or do whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to go out his way, make things like a kind of an issue. He had that whole thing in Minnesota with the practice and everybody was soft. Philadelphia, he still feels kind of spited that they chose Tobias Harris over him. There was initial reports that like him and Derrick Rose didn't get along over in Chicago. And again, we weren't in the locker rooms to confirm any of these reports, but it seems like no matter where Jimmy Butler goes, once he's ready to get out, he's going to create some type of controversy to get himself out. And, I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler, so it is kind of it does look a little weird on him. I've been on his side for a lot of it, but the more he kind of keeps going and going and going, it's like it kind of gets exhausting. And honestly, God, this is going to be the last video I make about Jimmy Butler until he gets traded, because it feels like every day he's doubled down the trade request. He's just coming back from suspension. They had the whole thing where he played the game the other night, and in warm-ups, like, Tyler Hero made him crack a smile. Then he went right back to just being, like, stoic, and, like, that was the whole thing. It's like, oh, look, Jimmy Butler cracks a smile in the pregame warm-up. It seems like it's just every little thing that Jimmy Butler does at this point in time is becoming a story. Every little thing Pat Riley said. Pat Riley even said he might be washed. It's like, this dude's 80 years old, man. It's just like, it's an ego off. It's a whole, like, power trip thing from both of these guys, and it's just very, very frustrating. Even Kyle Lowry came out and said that, he was kind of frustrated with Jimmy Butler's hard-headed tendencies. Kevin Love's on Instagram making a post about that girl that slept with over 1,000 men in 12 hours, which she might be lying for. Come on. That, like, how hard we got effed in the second half or something, something along those lines, where it's like, I think Kevin Love, man, he's got his ring. He's chilling. He's an older guy. He's chilling. I think he's just trying to make light of a kind of a weird situation. Like I said, again, Kyle Lowry made the comments about Jimmy Butler being hard-headed. Tyler Hero, and he also came out, or the reports came out that apparently Jimmy Butler's unhappy with the way they seem to be prioritizing Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, and that's why he would rather be a third option behind a Devin Booker and Kevin Durant versus a third option behind Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. And, like, obviously Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are the better of the two compared to Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, but, like, at the same time, you kind of have to look at it as, like, these Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, now, Bam Adebayo is not really having that great of a season, but he's consistently there. Tyler Hero is having a very good season, probably an all-star season for Tyler Hero. These guys are consistently there. I know Tyler Hero was hurt in their two playoff runs, or two deep playoff runs, but, like, these guys are consistently there. They're trying. You're not seeing this off-the-court stuff with these two guys, and, like, frankly, they care in the regular season, where it's like Jimmy Butler sometimes kind of has, like, the idea of, as long as we get into the playoffs, I'll turn it up. I'll be a top 5 player in the league during the playoffs, and we're going to get to the finals. The problem is now you're going in at the 7 seed. You're going in as the 8 seed. And yeah, you make that immaculate run, which everybody remembers. People are always going to remember that 8 seed run to face the Denver Nuggets in the finals. But point blank and period is that you don't need to be the 8 seed. You guys could, especially in the Eastern Conference, if you guys genuinely took the regular season seriously, you could be a 4 or 5 seed. And, I mean, maybe, like I said, 4 seed, you have home court advantage, at least in the first round. And if anybody upsets, you could have home court advantage in the second round. It makes a big difference. It just doesn't seem like they really care in the regular season. And it's like, you know what? I think Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, this could be an ego move, but I think Eric Spoelstra's like, listen, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, these guys are staples in our franchise, and they want to win, so we're going to start prioritizing them. Again, Bam Adebayo is having probably one of his worst seasons, but it's just like, they're still there. They're still out there. They're not being this whole distraction on the outside part of the team. Where does Jimmy Butler go? It's still probably Phoenix. I feel like, it's going to have to be a Bradley Beal trade. I don't know really where else he goes. I mean, Houston potentially, if you can make some. I think, honestly, if you're Miami, trading him to Houston's probably the better option, because you might get a Cam Whitmore in that trade. You're probably going to get a pick. You might have to take on, like, a Steven Adams or, like, Jock Lindell or something like that. Like, you're going to have to take on some other contracts. But if you can get a Cam Whitmore and some picks for Jimmy Butler, I think if you're Miami, you have to say yes to that. Because Jaime Jaquez Jr. isn't having the best season. But a guy like Cam Whitmore, you can come in and it's like, how is he going to fit into the Heat culture? Especially because he's had some moments where he's, like, pouted during wins and stuff like that. But as of recently, it seems like he's been in a lot better mood in Houston. But like, you got to take some chances on some young guys. The other problem is, it's very, very clear Pat Riley does not want to rebuild. This dude's 80 years old, man. He wants to win another championship before, inevitably, he's no longer with the team. And bringing Cam Whitmore and some picks isn't doing anything to, like, make you a championship team. But again, if you trade him to Phoenix, bringing in Bradley Beal doesn't do you anything to being a championship team. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of backed into a rough position. And I feel like they're also hurting themselves. Like, Pat Riley's also hurting himself and the team by kind of leaking all this weird stuff about Jimmy Butler, because it's lowering his trade value. Now, in Pat Riley's mind, he's like, well, like I said before, if he doesn't trade him, he considers it a win. Pat Riley considers it a win if he's able to keep Jimmy Butler and not give Jimmy Butler what he wants. But Jimmy Butler's also said, I'm not re-signing. So at this point in time, if you're Pat Riley, you're like, well, I don't want to trade him because I don't want to lose this ego, this beef, or whatever you want to call it. He's just going to walk in free agency, and you're going to get absolutely nothing back. I would rather... Okay, here's the question. Would you rather have Bradley Beal or Jimmy Butler walk for nothing? Maybe it's kind of maybe you just rather have Jimmy Butler walk. I don't know. But if you give me, do you want Cam Whitmore and like a couple other contracts and a pick or two for Jimmy Butler? Yes, I would rather take that 100 times over. Golden State, I don't think is in the running anymore. It's like you might have got Kuminga, but I don't really know if you would have got Kuminga for that. You know, I don't know. It's a weird situation down there. According to Shelburne, the Heat's reasoning for relaxing some of their methods for Butler dates back to the summer of 2014 after LeBron James went back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They gave Chris Bosh a 5-year extension, but used some of their remaining money to fill out other holes on his roster. This left Dwayne Wade to take a 2-year, $31 million contract, even though his value at that point was still significantly higher than that. And yeah, then they kind of did it again and ended up over in Chicago. So that wasn't really... Yeah, okay, they have right here. Wade wound up leaving in the summer 2016 after the two sides couldn't come to terms on a new deal. One source close to Butler told Shelburne they said all the time that Dwayne Wade died so that Jimmy Butler could live with the Heat. Miami wound up acquiring Butler to sign a trade deal back in July 2019. I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know what they mean by said all the time that Dwayne Wade died so Jimmy Butler could live. I don't understand what that's meaning there. The partnership has been mutually beneficial, with Butler being the best player for most of his 6 seasons in Miami. The Heat have reached the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times and played the NBA Finals twice since the 2019-2020 season. Butler, who was set to return from a 7-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team on Friday against the Nuggets, remained steadfast in his desire to be traded away from Miami before the February 6th trade deadline. The Heat are currently 8th in the Eastern Conference with a 20-19 record. Butler's averaging 17.5 points, 55% shooting, 5.5 rebounds, and 4.76 assists, in 22 starts this season. Okay, like I'm still kind of stuck on this whole thing about Dwayne Wade dying so that Jimmy Butler could live. I don't know what that is. And the thing about the Miami Heat is, which I think they're happier with, is that they're not going to miss the playoffs because really nobody else in the Eastern Conference is trying to make the playoffs at this point in time. I guess the 76ers are the only team that's kind of out of the play and that's trying to fight. But then there's been real talk that the 76ers are just going to kind of pack it in for this season with Embiid's injuries, with Paul George just not being good at basketball anymore, and then Tyrese Maxey having an up and down season. Is that maybe Philadelphia just kind of takes the rest of this year, pack it in, come back next season. So if that's the case, Miami's going to be in the playoffs, so they're not going to have a lottery pick. And it's like, it's hard to get better when you're constantly having the 17th overall pick, the 18th overall pick. It's just, you're not really going to get better because you're not getting those top end guys. Now, obviously, there's been some very, very good players come right outside the lottery, and I don't want to say that like it's not possible, but it's almost better for you to get into the lottery because there's still that chance you jump up into a top 3, top 5 pick, and especially in a draft class like this, get somebody really, really good that you help build for the future. It's been a rough stretch of games for the Miami Heat, man. And especially for Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley in this whole crazy situation. But at the end of the day, man, it is a real possibility that Jimmy Butler is still on the team after February 6th. I think it would be an absolute fumble by Pat Riley in the front office to let Jimmy Butler stay on this team because you'd rather get something for him than nothing. But again, it's been nothing but an ego off. And frankly, we're all tired of it. Last video, I'm doing a Jimmy Butler until he's traded. I said that before. Just want to thank you guys for watching. I hit 300 subs and then one person unsubscribed, so now I'm down to 299 as I'm recording this. So like, please resubscribe, man. I don't know what I did wrong. I appreciate you guys watching. Listen, 2025 is gonna be a big year, and I'm super excited for it. I'm glad you guys watched, and I will see you guys later. Peace.